Hello and welcome back to Raccoon Creek Homestead. Today we are going to talk about goals. Every year around New Year's, I find myself making goals for the new year. Usually it's, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to go to the gym every day, or I'm going to eat better, I'm going to, look, the list goes on. And I never do them. They last, I don't know, like a month, give or take. And then they fizzle. So this year I did something a little bit differently, and with the fact that we moved out on the land and got our house and all that, it was a little bit different. But I sat down with Jeremy and we came up with goals, and maybe it's more of a 5-year plan is more what I should call it, but we wrote them down, and I feel like that's really important too, and it's in my planner, which I can't live without. If I'm gonna be real honest. But we did goals, and it wasn't even like last year. This was probably back in the spring, and the goals for 2021 were the house, which we got, to start a garden, which we got, the chickens, which we got, a wood burning stove, to finish the fencing around the back, to organize the barn, to pay off my Jeep, and to start the deck. And we got every single one of those things done. I could not be happier. I'm not going to lie. I thought that some of them were definitely going to have to go to next year, like paying off my Jeep and the deck. So that is, like, I'm ecstatic. But again, I saw them every day, and we were on the same page. We were working towards the same goal. And I think that was a big contributing factor, is we worked together. And the thing, like, some of them weren't a bit, like, organize the barn. That's like a weekend project. These are not things that have to go on for years and years. And we started the house last year. I think we put down our deposit like last September. It took us almost a year from start to finish on on getting it out here and getting it in and us moving in. But I think it's important. It's important to dream. And like for next year, I have to expand to turkeys instead of just chickens to finish the deck, which, hey, we've already done it. So there's one check that I already got to mark off, and it's not even, like, it's not even New Year's yet. To plant fruit trees. We were going to do that this year, but in Indiana, they're like the big, like, however many years cicadas, and they're not real nice to new fruit trees. So we decided to wait until next spring, so we'll do that. We put the fire pit, which we have a fire pit and like a couple chairs, but it's kind of redneck. So we're just gonna kind of make that a little bit more, like, so the whole family can sit around it and not have to sit on, like, cut logs, which, I mean, like, my son enjoys it. He props his feet up. He doesn't care. But to expand the garden, to build a greenhouse, I'm not going to lie, that one may kind of get pushed back a little bit, but you never know. I mean, these are dreams. To add shelving in the barn, to landscape the yard. But future goals are to get pigs, to have our food production at home be 10%, and then the next year I put 20%. So I'm hoping to increase by 10% until we can completely self-sustain. I think that would be awesome, except for maybe no sugar, flour, the basics, but I think that would be awesome. Like, even for Thanksgiving this year, I volunteered to make the noodles, and Haley and I, we made noodles from scratch, from eggs we already had, and I had canned chicken broth from our own chickens that we raised here. So literally, we did it all completely, all by ourselves, except for I think I threw in a can of cream of chicken and the flour for the noodles, and that's it. But I was so excited, like, so excited. It doesn't take much to make me, like, a little kid happy, like, it's like, ooh, like, yay! But that's kind of, look, that's another story. We'll get to know me a little more in my ridiculousness when the garden goes up in the spring and things start sprouting. Like, I'm like, I could legit watch the garden sprout Like, I could sit there all day and watch. It's fun. And it's like, oh, it's your birthday! But we'll get back to that in the spring. But for the future, I also want a beehive, which is kind of funny because I'm not allergic to bees, but I'm highly reactive to bees. So, like, I don't go into anaphylactic shock, but, like, this past year I got stung in the foot and my foot wouldn't fit in my shoe. I have to go get a shot, and usually steroids. But that's beside the point. But I still want bees because of how beneficial they are. I want the pollinators. But for 2025, which is, you know, only a couple years away if you really think about it, I have nothing written down. No, it's just blank. Because I feel like that's a long time ahead and a lot could change. And I feel like the goals we have in place are good enough to where if we have to bump something back, we can. If we end up adding, because like next year I'll probably put like a back patio, just like a flat something. That way, you know, we can put the grill on it. But that's the whole point, is to make a goal or a 5-year plan is to just kind of keep you in focus, kind of like a vision board, which I have on the back of my closet door. It's just to kind of help you remember and to help you dream and to remind you why you're working so hard at something. Goal. When I set goals, I like to follow the acronym SMART, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So all of the goals we set were time-bound because I wanted them done by the end of the year, the end of next year. They were specific, so start a garden or get food production to 10%, to 20%. They're relevant because we have to eat, and let's face it, the stores are getting more and more expensive, and the shelves, depending on where you live, some are more stocked than others. We're lucky enough that we don't have to necessarily worry so much about empty shelves at the moment. But we also live in a small, more farm town. And a lot of us, I think, really do have gardens or... If you don't have a beagle, I bet your house is a lot quieter. Okay, so back to what I was saying about goals, and especially SMART goals. That's something that I really like to keep you kind of task oriented, and you can even break it down. Like for the greenhouse, for example, we could say, okay, we want to get it all measured out by February, and maybe by April to, you know, have the framing set up, and then May have the roof on, and then by June, when it's time to, you know, plant the later fall crop, then it's like, okay, I want to have it done by then. And if you break it down into smaller steps, instead of going, okay, I want a greenhouse, where's my greenhouse? You can break it down into smaller steps, because I know that I get overwhelmed if I set a goal that's big. I need it broken down into smaller pieces. And that's just one example. To landscape the yard, I could say, okay, by the beginning of March, I want to have like a rough sketch of where, you know, what shape do I want the garden bed? What plants do I want in it? Just start small. For having pigs for 2023, I need to make sure that I can get a butcher date before I even get pigs. I have to have the fencing ready. I have to be able to make sure that I can get food sourced locally to feed the pig, because without food, unless you have a really big garden, that's a lot to have in. For the beehives, for later, I have to have all of the framing, and that is not expensive. Or that is not cheap, it is very expensive. to have someone to find someone that has it. Our local, I know that there are people that keep beehives locally. So to reach out and try to learn before I jump into it, because it could turn out that turns out I want nothing to do with beehives. Because it's like if you got a dairy cow, you have to be able to milk it like at least daily. I think twice a day. If I can't be out there to milk a cow twice a day, then I probably shouldn't get a dairy cow. If you go on vacation a lot, or like we go to pick up my stepdaughter and we get a hotel overnight. So that's a full 36 hours. I'm going to have to find someone to milk that cow or that goat or whatever it is. So we have to be realistic on our goals. So maybe the R should be realistic instead. But it's just to think it out. And again, I put the beehive for 2024 because I have things I want to do first. And it's all about prioritizing what you want. You could never want a beehive. You could be like, I want a beehive tomorrow. Your list will not look the same as mine. You may not want turkeys. You may not want livestock at all, but maybe you garden. Maybe it's to be, okay, I want to be able to put 100 jars of something that you canned in your pantry. And that would be a goal. And that's something that you could break down smart, specific. I want X amount of this. Measurable. You got a number. That's your measurable. Is it attainable? If you work for it, I guarantee you it's attainable. Is it, what did we just decide to make the R? Realistic. Yeah, to put food up for your family. Now, if you are like, let's say, I'm going to put up 50 jars of strawberry jam, but you don't like strawberry jam, you may want to tweak it to something you like maybe spaghetti sauce. And then time. Set a time. Okay, strawberries are in season, at least in Indiana, in spring. So I'm going to go and I'm going to, maybe it's a you pick, maybe it's just a purchase. You're going to get the strawberries and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it by the end of May. There's your goal. And we did it together. And we can totally, if you have something that you want and you want help kind of breaking it down, feel free to put that in the comments below and we can do it together. We can work through it, because that's what a community is. It's a team. It's people working together. And that's how I think it needs to be more of, is to get through things together and to work together for a common goal. So let's do that. Let's work together. Let's get our goals. Let's make our lists. Let's dream and let's do it. Let's get it. Let's achieve our dreams. Make that a goal. I want to do my goals. There's your goal. And we will do this. And flaws happen and setbacks happen. And I know that money is a factor. Look, that's why these aren't all in like 2021. We have to space it out. I mean, if you happen to have a ton of money and can pay for all of those things to happen all at once, that's awesome. I'm jealous. No, not really. I think that's great. But for some of us, it takes a little more time and it takes learning. But we'll get there. And you'll get there. You just have to work for it. But you can do it. And if that means that you need to take a dry erase marker and write on your mirror your goals, or today I will. Look, today I will smile and be happy. That can be a goal, especially with the winter blues coming. I know those that are in like the warmer, but like it's 20 degrees outside. That's the high. It was, I think, 21 degrees today. So if you suffer from seasonal depression, it could just be to smile. They don't have to be big and crazy like building a greenhouse. Or maybe it's, I want to keep my indoor plant alive. Maybe I want to start seeds. It could be anything. The sky is the limit. And if I get nothing else through, it is that you can do it. You just have to dream it, set goals, and do it. See you next time.